Hello out there. I'm Zev Halpern on the East Coast in the northern suburbs of Maryland, real close to the nation's capital, which is like a hot tamale these days. And I have with me,
Hi, I am Sarah Polyakov, and I'm coming at you from the West Coast, also in Washington, but not in DC. And this is the Your Amazing Edge podcast, where we talk about crushing challenges and overcoming all those obstacles that life loves to throw our way. How are you today, Zeb?
I'm doing pretty good. I had kind of an interesting day. For the first time in 5 years, I went into an indoor baseball place because I actually joined a team again, and I hit 70 balls. I
Wow,
hit 70 balls, and boy, did it feel good. And I mean it.
fantastic.
Every time I hit that ball, it felt like I felt stress go out the window.
Oh,
And this is 5 years. Like this is I
wow.
played for many, many, many years, and I haven't played in five. I have to tell you, it was a pleasure, and I had plenty of stress, and it really helped. And so here we are, and today we're going to talk about taking, letting go of the baggage. Um, the baggage that keeps you all messed up. You're trying to get to success, and your old baggage keeps creeping up on you. You understand what that is, Sarah? You got some baggage over there?
Oh, I got some baggage. Yeah,
I know I got some baggage
I
for
got
sure.
I got some baggage. Like, let's see, what kind of baggage do I have? I'll just show everybody some of the baggage I have. I got this UFO. It's actually a drum. It's not a real UFO. So
Can we
that's
hear it, please? Can we hear that drum, please? There you go. There you go. Let's drum beat that stress away. But I already got my stress out today with a baseball bat. So
that's the best.
So I'm happy to see you smashing on a drum.
Exactly.
I'm living again in the evening here vicariously through you. Um, but in terms of letting the baggage go, a lot of people have a lot of difficulty with it. Baggage has to do with old messages and things that we've been through, little traumas, big traumas, according to who you are. And the truth is that if you want to move forward, you got to take out the mental trash because this baggage you allow to live rent free in your head. Uh, I mean, who gets rent free? Baggage does. Old messages, all this. You're never going to amount to anything. You're always doing it wrong. Something's wrong with you. Why
Right.
can't you be like little Billy over there? Why can't you be like, John over there? All those messages, or a teacher who, for 1 second in your life, embarrassed you to the point where it was so hurtful. And you might think, oh well, that's a wussy thing to say. Well, it's really not, because
It's not.
people live with that stuff all their lives. We
They
need clarity. We need to get past, our limiting beliefs and other people's narratives. Can't live in somebody else's narrative. And believe me, I know I did. There's a lot of other people out there that did. Um, you have to basically vanquish. You have to vanquish your baggage. With vanquish, I use that word. That's a strong word. That's
do.
like poof, magic, goodbye baggage. I
Right.
know it doesn't go away that fast because baggage has a way of lingering.
It
But
does.
if you're going up the mountain with a 400-pound bag of baggage, you're not going to get very far. And
Right.
a lot of people basically, that's what they do. I mean, how do you begin to get rid of this baggage? What do? You say, well, go to therapy. Okay, that's one possible way. Get coached. That's
Yeah.
another way. What else?
It's
You can throw a holy shit fit, if you want. You can yell at your children. You can treat your animals wrong.
oh
I mean, this
well,
is how people deal. When people are acting mean and nasty, they got baggage.
don't kick the dog. Seriously.
Yeah.
but it's not as easy to get rid of if we don't get help, because the brain is like a vinyl record. We're talking retro here. It's like a vinyl record, and it has grooves on it, and all that baggage are like grooves on the vinyl record, and then it scratches, and you hear the over and over again. You hear the same line of that same song over and over again. That's what baggage is it's like a scratch on the vinyl record of the brain. And
It's
that's
your baggage on a turntable, according to Sarah Polyakov. Your
yeah,
baggage are going round and round, scratching your head, making you crazy and nuts.
it
And
is.
if anybody's ever experienced it, because I'm raising my hand, I certainly have. Most importantly, where do you start? I got to get rid of this baggage. What do I do? First thing, you have to identify your baggage. There's no other way. You got to say, where's it coming from? Is it coming from the present? Is it coming from the past? When we grew up, we had we were told a lot of things that were very useful to us when we were children, and we needed them. They helped guide us. They saved us from falling in holes, and sometimes we decided to fall in the holes ourselves, but people were trying to give us a heads up. But the truth is that it's just not appropriate anymore for adult life. And you have all these adults walking around with all this behavior that they picked up like a magnet, and it won't leave. Everything they try, they look at through, these lenses of their childhood. And it's time to basically get a new pair of glasses. You can't see past
No,
past the
no,
baggage. It has to go. And no one tells us,
no.
hey, Zev, Sarah, it's time to let go of that old childhood shitty baggage that you have. It doesn't work that way. A little buzzer doesn't go off and go ding, 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 ding. Time to get rid of the buzzer. We have to come to it. We have to, figure this out.
Unless you have an inquisitive son like I do, who can tell that I have baggage from high school. He's in high school and he knows my story about high school. And today he was following me around as I was getting ready for this live. And he was saying, Mom, you look okay. You look okay. You look okay. You look good. Okay. Don't worry.
What
Because
a nice, loving son you have.
yeah, because he knew that in high school I was the girl who, if everybody was dancing and there was nobody left to dance with, nobody would dance with me. I was the person in high school who was never asked on a date and who was, the proverbial ugly duckling. And the other kids loved to remind me of this for 4
Yeah,
years.
how wonderful. We have Edward Zia watching us right now in Australia. We have
Hi, Ed.
Nestle Han Gergen watching us too. How are you?
How are
I
you?
love your posts. I love seeing them. And you are a wonderful thought leader, Nestle Han. And I value your posts whenever I see them.
Yes, we love them.
So what we need to do is we can't give our baggage airtime. We give our baggage lots of airtime like we're on TV.
Yeah,
Basically, we have to analyze, what is it? What is it? It's our baggage is grabbed by that old bully called our inner critic. That old bully, that inner critic, wakes up and grabs this old stuff, takes your baggage, all your fears and insecurities and crappy messages from your childhood. And basically, we need to start the process of challenging the bully. If ever you've experienced a bully, bullies thrive until they're challenged by somebody who recognizes their BS and gets kind of under them and realizes and then exposes them. And that's what we have to do. We have to turn these negative messages from our baggage into positive streams. Now I have a tool that I'm going to get to. That's a really great tool for getting rid of baggage. If you just hang in there with me. And it's coming very soon. But one thing we also have to do about ourselves, self-respect, we have to cultivate self-compassion. We have to care about ourselves. And if you don't care about yourself at the time where you're stressed or where this inner critic is oppressing you and smashing you around in smithereens, then you're just going to just fall apart. You get weakened. But when you stand up to the bully weakens. The bully weakens. And you need to be present in your life. You need to understand what's going on with yourself. You have to have some kind of understanding of where I am. Where am I right now? I'm not 5 years old anymore. I'm not 16. I'm not 18. And you need to challenge. And when you do that, that's where you begin a self-awareness to be able to say, I'm not going to be bullied by this self-critic anymore. I'm gonna move this inner critic anymore. I'm gonna move forward. So here's a tool. I think I've used it numerous times, and there's a lot of good. There's a lot. And hello to the LinkedIn user that says shalom. Hi, shalom to you.
Shalom.
Yeah, and basically, here's the tool. Get a piece of paper. Write this baggage down in indelible so you see it for what it is. It's not you anymore. You're putting it on the page. Take that page and hey, if the list has 100 things on it, fine. Put 100 things on it. If it has 6 of the worst kind of baggage that you think you have, then use that. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take that piece of paper and crumple it up. And then I want you to go to the top of the refrigerator or wherever you keep your foil, because now I told you where I keep mine. Pull some of that foil out. Put that crumpled up mess that you have in there into this foil ball. Crunch it good so it's like a good throwing ball, something that you can throw. Now, we don't want you to litter. We're not trying to litter the world with our baggage. But the truth is that we need to go through something. Rituals are associated with happiness, not necessarily rituals, religious rituals, although they might be also. But people who have and develop private rituals seem to be happier because the people in their lives, their families know that on Wednesday night we do this thing. Or a husband and a wife, they take a bath, or and they have this ritual that they do. Rituals are structure, and they make us happier. This is a ritual to get rid of your baggage. An alternative form of this ritual, and even more, is if you have a barbecue out there on your deck or something like that, take that piece of paper I told you about, crumple it up, and burn it. Get a match and light it on fire and watch it burn. Watch it burn, because there goes all the baggage, and you might have to do it again, and you might have to do it again and again, because baggage, again, like Sarah said, has a way of sticking around. Her turntable.
Right. And another way to deal with it after you write that list is you can take a page from Byron Katie's book. She hasn't been in the news for quite a while, but the first thing she would ask is this true? Basically, is this true for me now? Right? So whatever thought that is that you're holding on to, I'm a nobody, I'm a nothing, I can't do anything. You ask yourself, is this true? Get into the rational mind, out of the emotional mind, into the rational mind, and analyze it. And then find the ways that it's not true and write those down.
When you vanquish your baggage in some kind of way, shape, or form, what you've done for yourself is you've made room to let yourself flourish. How can you possibly flourish if it's raining baggage all over you, and not just friendly baggage, nasty, crappy, terrible baggage that people have been throwing at you, and because you haven't had the wherewithal or the confidence up until this point, which is fine, but you're kind of saying, I'm drawing a line in the sand, I'm done. and you've made room for other things to come into your life. It can't come into your life. We only have, I mean, granted, we can have a lot of stuff in our minds, but the truth is that clarity, clearing the obstacles, and doing those kinds of things are the thing that basically, when you're looking straight ahead, you see a clear path. And I think it's that clear path that allows you to walk freely and to experiment and explore and play a little and try to see what it is. There's a famous inventor, Buckmaster Fuller. Basically he said there's no failed experiments, only experiments with unintended outcomes. Now, that's got to be my favorite quote, because for humans going through this life with all that we go through, I mean, look at me, I got this beard on my face because my mom of 97 years died 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
She had a wonderful life, and I know she's happier in a place that she is right now, but her son here on earth, is respecting, and for 30 days, I'll grow this beard and I'll look like Rip Van Winkle, and I'll move on after 30 days. But it's so important. Vanquish the bully. You're the commander. You're the author. You're the one in charge. So what does the one in charge do? They take charge. So please take charge of your life. Cast off this stuff. Throw it off. You can't climb the mountain with a 400-pound bag of the nastiest baggage that you could imagine. I've heard in my office, and Sarah has too, because both of us have dealt with relationship stuff all our lives. We've heard some really nasty stuff that people carry around, and they don't even realize, and people don't even tell them, let it go. I mean, there's movies, right? There's Frozen, let it go, throw it away. What do you think, Sarah?
You want to sing Let It Go?
Go ahead, if you got to.
You want to sing with me?
No, I'll listen to you.
Okay. Let it go, let it go. I don't know.
That was good. That was good. Anyway, the things we're talking about today all emerged because Sarah and I wrote a book. We took literally a year out of our lives and a summer out of our lives, and we together climbed a mountain with a book. And this is the book. It's called Discover Your Amazing Edge. And it's going to make you think about the things that are important and the outcomes that you want in your life. You got to think about these things. If you're not getting anywhere in life and it's not happening for you, then reach out. People do go to the self-help books and they look at it. Some people need more help. Some people need, an actual face-to-face, whatever it takes. We only live once. And if you don't deal with it, you'll be dealing with it, in a relationship that you're in, or you'll be dealing with at a job, or you'll encounter somebody who's familiar again and again, and they'll keep happening until you rid yourself of the baggage. I mean, I can't talk about it enough.
Right. And I like to say that, well, and then there's also the trauma aspect to baggage. If baggage has any trauma attached to it, it becomes even more problematic when we don't deal with it. And here's why. If we suppress that trauma, I say that trauma will find its own voice. And it does so in coming out in behaviors like perhaps maybe drinking too often, over exercising, overeating, just a myriad of ways, or even just self-sabotaging relationships due to fear. So trauma will find a voice, and baggage will also find a voice.
And it finds its voice in negative coping behaviors, like Sarah's talking about. We need relief. We're going to find it. If we don't have our own valve, then a valve's going to open up, and we could end up somewhere extremely detrimental to
Yeah.
ourselves, as many people do. They just don't know why. And at some point in your life, you have to ask the question, just why?
What?
And again, whoever is, I can't believe how spot on this is. This is talking to me. If you knew, I mean, this is somebody out there who's not showing me who it is, but they're experiencing what we're talking about. And believe me, you are not alone.
No.
And those of us who have thought this through and who have been through it, and also who have risen to be the helpers, to be the containers for other people for this stuff. This is the one of the biggest adult tasks of our lives. Unfortunately, when we go to school and they ring the school bell, we don't go to a class called "How to Get Rid of the Baggage."
No.
I
No.
think we should. I mean, I think there's a certain, at least there's something extremely useful in a heads up. I like heads up. Hey Zev, here's what's going to happen if you don't deal with this.
Please give me a heads up. I would
Please,
love a guidebook for life.
I want a heads up no matter what. I do. I don't care if it's negative. Tell me what it is. Like if we're on the plane and we're crashing, we are crashing. I want to know. I want to know what's happening. Awareness is very important to me
And
because
you've
for a
been
long time I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware. And one time I'll tell you about a plane that I was on that blew up. But that's another story. But I want to tell you is stay tuned for many different things that Sarah and I are going to be doing. We got a lot planned, and we're going to be implementing a lot of things. We have a program called Leap Forward, where you can jumpstart your journey to your successful outcomes. That's what we want for you. We want you to have successful. It's terrible to spin your wheels. You
Yep.
work so hard, you try so hard, you get schooling, get this, only to let some crappy baggage from the past, ruin everything for years. It ruins relationships. People get divorced. They don't deal. Sarah alluded to trauma. A lot of people who have trauma in their lives don't tell their significant others that they had it. They're like mystery. What's wrong? Tell them if you trust them. If you trust them, tell them. If you don't trust them, don't tell them. Don't tell anybody you don't trust too much of anything about
Exactly.
yourselves.
If you don't
Because
trust somebody, don't say anything at all. But
don't give people ammunition, to hurt you. But if you're with somebody and you have a certain trust in this particular person, then and you've experienced a small or large trauma in your life, and they don't know about it, they don't understand you. They're living with somebody who they don't even understand.
right.
If you trust them, then you'll get a plan, and you'll be surprised that you can overcome amazing traumas by doing things that you wouldn't. It's not just talking about it. There are things you can actually do that send message to your brain, that it's time to move on from this trauma. What's the greatest success of people who have had something perpetrated against them? The greatest success is living the best life you can.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing better. If you want to get back at the world, get back at them by living the best possible life, becoming your best version that you could possibly be. Because let me tell you, that's like spitting at them, and you leave them in the dust. Just leave them in the dust. They won't even know you went past them.
Yeah.
Because you'll be flying up the mountain a lot faster, because you'll be traveling a lot lighter. So we have a program called Leap Forward. I have a program called Pure Success. And also Fridays, Sarah and I, because we were relationship therapists and coaches, we have a program, Spicy Fridays,
Yes.
where we talk about it all. Yeah, we talk
Everything.
about everything that there is, no holds barred, nothing's off limits. Please let us know what you want us to talk about on
Yes.
Fridays. Today we talk about the stuff about finding that edge, finding that mysterious edge that lives inside of you and you don't have access to, well, Sarah and I can help you find it.
Yeah.
And we want you to find it because the power that you'll find when you do will be the energy that you need to reach the goals. On Fridays, on Spicy Fridays, you'll find out a little bit of guidance about how you can get past some relationship problems, rekindling your relationship, dealing with, some stuff that you've brought with you from the past that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and you want to make sense of it. So there's a lot to give, and Sarah and I have decided, basically in our lives, to let it out, to let it go, and whatever secrets we have inside, we decided, to let it go. So my screen is blank. I don't know why it does that. It's kind of an interesting thing StreamYard does. It did it the last time. The thing goes blank, amazingly, right?
Okay, I don't see it.
Mm-hmm. And all the people who have joined us tonight and are listening, I really thank you, because what you provide for us is confirmation.
Yes.
I know a lot of you have it. One person here is saying they've been trapped in this stuff for practically their whole life. And I feel for you. You don't have to be. I don't want you to be.
No.
And I'm telling you, there's a road out of it. But you have to put your 2 feet on the ground, and you got to take your hand, and you got to reach out for some help. And if you have already, and you already tried some kind of help, you got to keep trying. I did. I grew up, in very religious circumstances, and I had all kinds of shit, that I grew up. And then all of a sudden I said, well, what is all this? What is all these limiting beliefs and things that are like, why can't I do that? Why am I not confident enough to do that? Why don't I have, the ability to respect, what I'm doing, that, that I'm following some kind of, that there's something. I mean, I understand, that there's another person, telling me what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So I'm rambling a little bit, and I think Sarah's going to wrap it up for us tonight. And what do you got, Sarah?
Well, if any of you are struggling, please reach out to either of us in the DMs. Everything is confidential. That's the first thing, is everything is confidential. We want to know what you're struggling with. If we can help you in any way, we're happy to. Also, give us ideas of what we can talk about so that we can serve your needs much better through these shows, because that's really our entire goal here. And
each show we do basically tells me how important it is that we wrote the book that we wrote, and that we're doing this because we're live in your life, and we want you to be live, to be able to have people you can trust, so that you don't have to carry this stuff around anymore.
Exactly.
You really don't. Make a decision, make a choice. It's time to do that.
And there's always a helping hand. It's just a matter of finding the right one. There's so much help out there.
So anyway, until Friday, when you see us on Spicy Fridays, and we won't tell you what we'll be doing this Friday, because it'll always be a mystery. But you can, one thing for sure, it will be no holds barred, and it will be no limits. We'll talk about it all, because we're talking about human beings, and we have to respect the things that we feel, and we do, and we're all uniquely different, and therefore we got problems, and we make problems, and problems come at us. So I'm wishing you a good week until then. And Sarah, this has been a ball, and I've really appreciated each time we do this. I like it even more.
Me too, Zev. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for watching,
everybody. See you next week.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you then. Thank you. Thumbs up.
Thank you. Peace out.